Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jedi. Today we are back with another video, and today we're going to be looking at the other two officers from yesterday. So yesterday we looked at the George Floyd trial and how there were four officers that were charged. Of course, with the main officer being Derek Chauvin, who was the officer that actually physically put his knee on George Floyd's neck, and we have the other three officers who held him down. So all four officers were charged. Yesterday we talked about how Thomas Lane, one of the other officers, not the main officer, how he was released on bail. So today we're gonna be talking about, and if you haven't watched that video, guys, go check that out on my channel. It should be titled, the thumbnail has Thomas Lane on it, and it should be titled "One of the Four Officers Were Released" by Jedi Solomon. So go check that out. It's really informative. It's really short, so you'll definitely like that one. So basically today we're gonna be looking at the other two officers who were not the main officer but the other two. So it was like the main officer but the other. So we had Derek Chauvin, and we have the other three that were just helping him. So Derek Chauvin, he's kind of put away in the point where they can't really touch him anymore. But the other three officers were also released today. So we're gonna find out why, how, and when it happened. So let's go. All right, guys. So basically, of course, we know Derek Chauvin's untouchable, so I'm not gonna be bringing him up because he's the main officer who did put his neck on George Floyd. Him getting released is gonna be really hard. But yesterday, Thomas Lane was released on bail, which he did raise through a PayPal pool donation, and remember to check that video out. I talked a lot about it there. And the other two officers today, the judge basically released them because he knew that they were all just a part of the same area, or they were all part of the same crime, those three officers. So the judge pretty much just realized that at this point, keeping them wouldn't really serve a huge purpose, because if one of the officers got released on bail, then basically keeping the other two officers isn't really like serving rights. So he decided to release all three of them, and all three officers are now free men who have been released. Of course, they still do not have their police job. They are still not allowed to do many things in society, and they have been flagged, and of course they won't be able to do many things that they normally did before. But they are all released, and they are all free men now. So they basically just roam our streets, and they are free men. All right, so that's basically what happened. Now, of course, we got to dive in to the sides, the fun part, right? So, of course, we have the two sides that we've been talking about for the past month now. We have BLM, the Black Lives Matter crew, and then we have ALM, the All Lives Matter crew, and basically like the Republican Party, they also kind of fall into the ALM crew. So we basically have, of course, like we have had for our generations, Republican versus Democrat. So basically what happens is we have a bunch of these protests that have been going on. And of course we have the Black Lives Matter protest, which is pretty strong in showing the fact that all the officers were just deemed criminals, murderers, and just should be put into jail. And some of them even went as far as to say that they should be killed, basically taking the law in their hands. Now, I don't want to bash any specific group because that's not fair to them. But with the protests and the protesters, I don't think it's fair for them to say that about someone else, especially like four officers that actually served our country. If we don't know the whole story of what exactly happened, if we haven't heard any of the audio or what happened inside the cars, and I've been saying that for a while now because we don't know exactly why George Floyd was taken to the ground. Nothing has been released, and it probably won't be released for a while. So when it does get released, I will come back to you guys and let you know. Until then, guys, I am not going to believe the fact that George Floyd was an innocent man and he didn't do anything, and four cops who served the police department just decided to throw him on the floor for no reason. I am not going to believe that until I hear some audio and see some video of what happened inside the car. Of course, if you guys are asking how is that even possible, we are in 2020 and there's a lot of technology. We have body cams, and all the cops are pretty much mic'd up and they have things all over their body, technology that's recording them. And of course, George Floyd's wife had her phone. So we haven't really heard any of that because of course the police department hasn't released it yet. So whether that be now, 2 months later, now, or a year later, I'm just going to be patient. We should all be patient and wait to see exactly what happened before we jump into conclusions. So with that being said, basically, of course, the protesters are against them against officers being released. People of the All Lives Matter movement are pretty much just saying that, of course, if all lives matter, blue lives gotta matter too. So, of course, them being in jail, since they are released, now we can actually look into the trial more, and we could investigate them and talk to them without them being in custody. So now they're free men, and they're not wrongfully charged or rightfully charged yet because we don't know. So they are right now just free men, and without any like further evidence of what exactly happened. That's basically where we stand right now. So of course, Three of them are free. Derek Chauvin, they are waiting for his bail, and if he's able to raise all the money, and if he is able to make his bail money count, and if he's able to come out, then all four of them will be free. But we'll have to wait to find out if that happens. So make sure you guys go subscribe, follow me on Instagram at j.solomon, and guys, I will see you guys tomorrow with a new video. Until then, bye.